Hello everybody, Jordan Nelson here. Today we're going to go through my latest wedding film and kind of critique it, give some background, some thoughts, the way I edited it and shot it and the whole deal. I want to jump right in here though because it is over 10 minutes, just the video itself. So I'm not going to get super in depth, but we're just going to give some background, some thoughts, and hopefully it'll be helpful for you as you're creating your films to maybe think through certain things, learn from mistakes that I made, or maybe be inspired with some other ideas. So let's just jump right in. What exactly are we looking at here? So this level here is just all of the clips, just all the video, no audio involved there. And then down here's the audio, obviously. We have the songs here, the Finally by Caleb Etheridge, that's the song. And then we have audio of the bride and groom speaking on the lowest level down there. And then up top, we have the color correction as that first layer right above the clips, and then above that is the letterboxing effect. So I want that above the color grade, or else the color grade is going to go over the letterbox, and then the letterboxing, the bars at the top and bottom won't end up being black. They'll have kind of a tint to it because it's been color corrected. So I make sure that's on top there. So I really don't bake in any of the color grades anymore. It's what I used to do for every clip, but because a lot of the clips have similar lighting and similar colors, it's nice to have an adjustment layer on top of all of these clips, so I don't have to, copy and paste it on all of them. I can just have it on the adjustment layer. So I like that. The only times that I do bake it into the actual clip, the color grade, is when I have like a transition like this, because if I have the color grade on an adjustment layer, then when it's coming from black, it'll be color graded. The black will be color graded. And then if I'm transitioning between two clips, then the fade looks weird, like the color grade. If I do two different color grades, it doesn't transition well. There's like a really hard cut on, oh, the colors were one thing on one clip and then a totally different thing on another clip, and it didn't fade the color grade like it did the actual clip. So that's kind of what we're looking at here if you're looking at the timeline. So let's just get started and take a watch. So all these shots so far are kind of teasing at this point. So we have the accents and we have some shots of the dress, but you haven't actually seen the people yet. You haven't seen the bride up close. So that was kind of what I was thinking when I was shooting and editing these particular shots. So I want to get detail of the dress, detail of her putting the dress on, some of the accents and stuff. And then this next clip's going to get into the actual people part of this.
Jacob, it didn't take me long to realize that you would be a significant presence in my life. Before we met, I thought I was making plans for myself.
All right, couple thoughts here. So as you can see back over here, this part of the timeline, I faded that music out. So down here is kind of the lower level of music, negative 20 decibels, so that you could hear the speaking audio well. So we faded that out. At the end here, you just fade that by doing that. You can also right click on it to change the way it fades. So this would be a quicker fade, it goes down faster. So that is how I faded that. As you can also tell, with the speaking audio, it sounds like you can hear a lot of the ambient noise, and you can also hear a little bit of that feedback from the microphone. So here's the issue with that. In this shot, the groom is wearing the lapel mic, and that is the audio that I'm using here. So she is far enough away from the mic and speaking softly enough where that mic, I had to turn the gain all the way up in order to pick up enough of her voice. So the microphone is having to work extra hard, so it is picking up a lot of noise around it as well. So it's picking up the ambient noise, is picking up the microphone. Later you'll hear the groom's voice and you're not going to hear any of that microphone feedback. It's going to be really crisp and clear because that microphone is just picking up the voice that is right above it. So I've had it both of these scenarios. I've had it where the bride was talking loud enough, or they were close enough where that didn't happen, or there wasn't much wind or whatever, or there was no microphone there that the venue was small enough where the microphone wasn't pointed at her, so you didn't hear some of that feedback. In this case you did, so to fix that, I would either need to get something that I could plug into the soundboard, which I don't have yet, or another microphone to hook up to the bride. So those are on the shopping list, as are many other things. So it's something to keep in mind in your films too, that you might have that if they're standing far apart. So you might think of trying to work with the officiant or the venue or whomever to be able to figure out if you can plug into the board and then have the mic pointed at the bride, or just get a separate mic and mic her up yourself.
It's for myself, but as it seems, God was making plans for us. I know this because when I think back, I am humbled to realize how everything made perfect sense. I don't think there are enough words to describe.
So you can hear him breathing and stuff too, like that microphone is trying to reach over to get her, but it's getting a lot of him because he's right there.
How grateful I am that those ambitions were instilled in me so that I would find you. But we both know we can't make it long in front of this crowd, so I'll try my best to make this short. Jake, what I love most about you is that you are kind. You give fiercely.
So everything so far except for those speaking shots has been in 120 frames per second.
Yes, I treasure your back rubs and random Amazon trinkets, among so many other things. Even more, I love that you give me your time, understanding.
So if you notice that the bride likes the back of her dress, if she says that, if she says something to the photographer, hey, make sure you get a back, I really like it, make sure that you include a back of the dress type of shot. So those types of things where you're listening and you're hearing what she says and you're not just doing what you always do or what you think is best. If they really like something, it's probably a good idea to capture it.
Commitment, patience, affection, and most of all, your love.
So why did I include that? That was just kind of a point of emotion where she's getting choked up, and I could very well have just cut that right there and then just gone to another clip. But I wanted to include that to just kind of show, like, man, this is a personal thing. It's not just a robotic thing. Really just kind of lends itself to the emotion of the video a little bit more. So I liked it personally.
Even when I'm being completely crazy or irrational, like when I have road rage, put my cold feet on you, or when I'm reorganizing your closet, because everything has a place. You don't criticize, complain, or judge.
So if you're wondering about the color grade as well, so this is the level that it's at. I have my LUT up here, so I have it only at 9%, so I have it very subtle. This is where I boost up saturation. Just went down on contrast a little bit, but then I also have my color correction as well, so I did some hue saturation curves. So as you can tell, this would have changed the color of the green. So before it was kind of yellow, a little bit more yellow, and I wanted to get a bit more deeper green, so I just put that down a little bit. But I also didn't want it to be too saturated. Like this looks like very saturated green. I didn't like that, so I wanted to bring it down and bring it down. So now it looks a bit more natural and subtle, pretty green, in my opinion. Now a lot of this is just up to your creative opinion. Now you might have liked it better originally. That's totally cool. So that was just the look that I was going for. So yeah, I was changing the colors like that. This hue versus lumen curve. So for that hue, it is going to darken it, or it is going to brighten it. So I brought it down just a tad. And then you also have you have color wheels, color board. I didn't change that at all in this particular correction, but in other parts of the video I did mess with these. You have your temperature, tint. You have color board that you can use where you can change the color, saturation, or exposure for the shadows, midtones, and highlights. Color curves as well. So you can mess with these. So this Final Cut Pro has some amazing tools for color correction that I didn't always have. So make sure you're taking a look at these and using these and not relying totally on LUTs or just the simple tools like the color board. isn't great for color grading your footage as a whole. I was able to select specific colors. So let me show you how to select those specific colors really quick. I don't think I did that. So you just take this dropper here and then you select the part that you want to change, and then it gives you that line there. So now I know that is the color of that particular portion, then I can change that. So I can just make a new dot here, or whatever it is. So you can change things around. I probably changed it. Oh well, it's fine.
Love. Your steadfast love and understanding completely fill my heart. So I'm going to spend the rest of my life with you, trying to reciprocate the love and kindness you give to me. I promise to be your best friend, to listen when you need heard, and to be with you and support you in your pursuits, even when it may be difficult for us. I promise to give you back scratches whenever you want, and if needed, attend one Cardinal game a year. I promise to put our relationship first and communicate honestly, even when my tendency is to shut down. I vow to learn from my mistakes and to grow from our struggles to be the best version of myself. I promise to get you to dance at random bars, make you try new foods, travel to new places.
Okay, so far the structure of this video has been accents, kind of the dress, some of those prettier things, and then getting into the bride, and then she starts talking, so you're identifying with her what she sounds like. So you see the bride, and then you see her with her bridesmaids, and throughout all this I'm intersplicing in some of the audio so you can see her talking and you can see them together, and then going over to the groom and then his groomsmen. So now you have seen all the major players of the wedding day, but you have not seen them together. So then they went ahead and did a first touch. So we'll go ahead and show that.
And most times let you take care of the yard work and house maintenance. I promise to keep you dear in my heart when we are apart and to always be
little squeezes like that, little stuff like that, that people really like that kind of stuff. So try to find places where you can capture that.
Faithful to you in mind, body, and spirit. I can't wait to continue to live my life with you, my best friend, my life partner. I can't wait to kiss you every day I get to see you, to cherish the time we have together, and keep laughing with you until I cry. I can't wait to take care of you, have a family with you, and...
All right, so the lens that I use is the Tamron 28 to 75 millimeter. So this shot, I didn't have to be right up in her face to get. I was using just a 28 millimeter for quite some time, and this shot I would not have been able to get. I would have had to get too close in order to get something like that. But if you have a lens that can really zoom in there, you can get those really detailed facial expressions and emotions, because this was a very personal moment. I didn't want to be right in her face. So if you have a lens that can get in there, this would be a great moment to use that for like a first look to get their faces and stuff. So
with you. You are the love of my life, the closest thing to a soul.
So we moved locations from like the house barn area. That was just all in a yard is what we did this entire time so far. And now we are at the ceremony location, which is at a winery. So we have now moved locations.
Only anyone can pray for. I wish this love for everyone because it is truly one of life's greatest gifts. I couldn't be happier or more proud to take you as my husband. I promise to love you openly and passionately from this day forward for as long as we both shall live, and this is my solemn vow.
I, Jake, confirm my love to you, Katie. You're the most beautiful, smart.
All right, so we have now transitioned into a new song as well. So that song was about over, so I want to transition to a new kind of background music there, and now we are gonna start into the ceremony. Now she had a pretty long personal vow message, so now we are getting pretty close to the ceremony. If it was shorter, I would have split it into whenever she was on screen, she was talking, or whenever he was on screen, he was talking, or switch between the two of them if they both had short ones. But with the timing of it, this was the best way it worked for this particular film, is just doing one after the other, so Katie and then Jake instead of intermixing it.
I, Jake, confirm my love to you, Katie. You're the most beautiful, smart, and dedicated person I've ever known. I promise to respect you, love you, and trust you always. I promise to work by your side to create a wonderful life together. From the moment I first saw you in that dark, hazy bar, I chose you. Literally. And on that first night, we walked and talked, sat on that hill until the sun rose. I knew you were the one for me at that point. My grandpa always made some comment that you'll know when you found the one. I never really...
So I'm still shooting at 120 frames per second up until we get to the actual ceremony when it starts. Then I'm shooting at 60 frames per second, which is what the speaking audio is in. I just did not slow it down. So you can't really tell there's not a ton of movement. That it's, you know, more jittery doing 60 frames per second with that 125 and above shutter speed. Can't really tell because there's just not a whole ton of movement. Just their mouths moving isn't gonna tip that off very much.
Believed him or understood what he exactly meant. But after that first night we spent together, I finally understood what he meant because I had found you. As we continue this journey through life together, I look forward to making millions and more memories with you. I know that with you by my side, we can overcome anything in our path and accomplish everything we set out to do. I truly could not have asked God for a more perfect woman with whom I can share my life with. Your dedication, your drive, your beauty, your heart.
Couple audio tips when you have music and speaking audio is not to cut directly on the beat every time when you have speaking audio and that music underneath. Because you want people to listen to the speaking music, you're not focused as much on like the visuals lining up with the music and all of that. That it's more just kind of a background thing. I just kind of want to fill it in with some pretty music, but yeah, it doesn't need to be as intentionally cut on that music.
In your mind, inspire me to be the best man that I can be. I promise to love you for eternity, to be faithful to you, and to share my entire life with you. I take you, Katie, to be my lawful wife, to have and to hold from this day forward, for better or for worse, for richer or for poorer, in sickness and in health, for as long as we both shall live.
Yeah, it was definitely raining as soon as he started his vow, so people dealt with it like a champ, and it wasn't raining super hard, thank goodness. It wasn't supposed to rain during the ceremony, so it just started to rain lightly, but everyone kept their cool. And but be prepared for that. If something like that happens, like is your camera weather sealed, make sure you have something that you can cover it up with if it's not. So just have some sort of backup plan if it does start to downpour on you suddenly. Make sure that you prepare for that. So I got that shot immediately after the ring bearer and the flower girl were walking down. So they were walking down, I got them, and I turned around. I am not getting the shot while she's walking down the aisle because I am getting her walking down the aisle. So that shot was actually immediately after I got this one. So I got them coming up and I did a long shot there because it's a big one. It's pretty, it's beautiful, and I want them to kind of experience that full moment there. And then I ran around the back and got over right behind him. So I ran around the back and then up the aisle and made sure I got that shot. As you can see, I was zoomed in, which is really helpful. So I didn't have to get, way up there. I was about halfway up the aisle to get that shot, and then just zoomed in. So that's really helpful when you have that zoom lens during the ceremony. Another note, this entire thing is on my glide cam, the entire video, except for some of the dancing where I just did handheld, just an FYI. So for my particular style, I do an extended highlight film. So you're probably wondering, like, why are you including every single, hug and interaction? This is my bread and butter. I am not providing like a comprehensive ceremony I give them the raw footage of the ceremony that I have with my one camera, but I'm not doing a multicam setup, or they're going to have all the details and stuff. Like, the big thing that I use to differentiate myself is this extended highlight film, where I'm really including all the moments that are important, not just like the highlights of the highlights. So every single interaction, every person that they went up and hugged, flowers for the moms, I wanted to include that. So that is why you're seeing all these different moments, instead of just like, why are you just doing the big sweeping ones? Yeah, so that's why. That's kind of how I try to differentiate myself from others. Why did I use those two shots? Emotion. Back to back. You have laughter where there's cracking up, having a good time, and then just emotion. Like, this is such an emotional ceremony, emotional moment. I want people to feel all of that. And there's a mix. So you have laughing, crying, and then laughing and crying simultaneously. So it's kind of a funny juxtaposition of those clips. Where do I get the music? I got these all from Soundstripe. I was using Epidemic Sound for a while because it was cheap and it was what I used when I first started, but Soundstripe is just as affordable, and it has phenomenal wedding music. Epidemic Sound is not as strong in the wedding music type thing, and I just love the cinematic type stuff that Soundstripe has. So, where were we? Back to 120 frames per second here. So that entire thing was 60. And now we're going to go into the next portion of the day, which is with the bridal party and the couple together, just doing like their portrait shots and stuff. Okay, we're going to stop right there really quick. Couple things I want to tell you about this clip. As you can see, this adjustment layer right here, if you click V, it turns it on, V, it turns it off. So I did have the color correction up here, but I baked it into the clip because I had a transition here. So I didn't want the color correction to get messed up by that transition. So that is why that is kind of not included in that clip. And then the speed ramping that I did for this. Now you can see all of the different editing that I did. So all you do is click I, O, and then that'll let you speed that up or slow that down. So everything was already at 20%. So it was slowed down with 120 frames per second. And then I would take a portion and speed it up depending on when I wanted that clip to, end and speed up and go on to the next person. So that's how I did that. So you can see all the sped up portions are right in here. And then you can kind of change how much it ramps, because you can make it really abrupt, like it's slow, 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 and then boom, goes fast. Or you can kind of have it ramp up slowly. So you can kind of change that by moving these guys around. So. On to the next thing. one note, dude, the gnats were insane. Like, they were all over the place. So if you see them in these clips, man, that's just the tip of the iceberg. I'm surprised they weren't on my camera lens, because they were in my eyeballs and in my ears. It was, ugh, ugh. Okay, so exactly how did we do this? So I'm gonna turn down the volume really quick so I can scrub through this. For this shot, the photographer was the one who was talking about this. So they were walking, and then by the time I had my shot, like, she told them to stop. So she kind of did like this funny walking leg thing, but that was the one shot I had of them walking forward, which I was cool with. And then this was also a photography shot, but I just jumped on it because, look, there's movement, they're kissing, those ones are always easy. Sometimes the photographer says kiss, and they kiss and they hold it. You don't want to just like start there and just get a shot of them. It's like nothing happened. You want to get the beforehand. Same for this one. This was a photography shot, but I got in by myself on this one, so this was just me taking the shot. And then I set this one up. I like the flowers in the foreground, and then it was a little bit out of focus to start, and then went in focus on her face. And I said, hey, tell her a joke. What's the funniest joke you can think of? I'm pretty sure is what I said to him. Like, tell her the funniest joke you can think of. And just them talking about what he should say, or that he can't think of a joke. She was able to laugh, and plus she was just really natural on camera anyway, so she could fake it pretty easy, but not everyone can, so trying to find creative ways to get them to laugh. But a lot of times when you tell them to do something and they can't, it kind of makes them laugh. And this was a photography shot. As you can tell, they're looking at the photographer, but I just thought it was a really pretty shot anyway, so I totally included it. I liked it. But if every shot was like this, then yeah, it'd probably be like, okay, there's not a lot going on. Like, that's why they had their pictures, you know, to get these shots. So this one, there's some movement in this one as well. So I wanted to get kind of close up of the ring. This one I just snapped. Like, I just went up there really quick, got the shot. This wasn't like a big planned thing. The photographer's actually right up in their face getting a photo. And I just was like, all right, if you're going to be up there, I'm going to get this shot. And then this one I had set up so having her lead him forward while they're walking, and she's looking at him. And then same, I just do a totally different shot. I say, okay, after this one's over, after this one's over, stop. And I'm going to get in front, and I'll do the same exact thing you're doing, but make sure that you're looking at her and look like you like her a whole lot, which I know you do. You're stinking married. And now I just go back to the front. I just wanted to do something where there was a little bit of, playfulness. I was like, walk, laugh, bump into each other a little bit. I thought that was just a cute shot. And then cross dissolve transition over to the reception. And let's get into it. Let me turn the volume back on. Flickering lights right in there. On my camera, I mean, I should have known they were going to flicker. Like, I know this. But on my camera, they weren't flickering, so I just wasn't thinking about it. So, yeah, 120 frames per second with that shutter speed. The shutter speed is faster than the light. So, yeah, I didn't really have any other establishing shot that was as good as that one, because I like the movement going from, okay, there are people around, and here's the scene. Some more human interaction, I like that. From here on out, we are going to go into the 24 frames per second portion of the reception. So the rest of the video is in 24 frames per second. I have in the past done like 60 or 120 for some of the dancing to get some cool slow motion, but it was a little dark, and the dancing wasn't the type of dancing that I thought would have looked as cool in slow motion. It's always cool when like people are kind of jumping up and down and stuff, big crowds jumping up and down, but for this particular one, I felt like 24 would work great. As you can see, I would another transition with the audio, so easing in and easing out at the same time. could have just made this audio itself, but I didn't feel like detaching the audio. It's underneath those clips, so it's fine. So made sure to fade in that audio. If you can get some good reactions of the couple, that's always really helpful. So I was switching between those two shots. So it's not like I didn't crop this in or anything. Like I specifically zoomed in to get some reactions because I could tell she was starting to get a little bit emotional. So make sure you're keeping your eye out for that. And then by the end though, I wanted to make sure that I had everyone in view so I could see them all raising their glasses. I really like this movement. So if you're using a glide cam or something, I like spinning with whoever's dancing. It's like the couple isn't really moving a whole lot, or whoever's dancing in the middle there, but the background's moving a lot. So that parallax movement, one of my favorites. Candid interactions, candid emotions, candid celebrations, always really good things to try to capture. Like it wasn't a planned thing, it wasn't something that I directed, it was just something that happened. So keeping your camera rolling during moments of the day is really, really helpful to capture that emotion. Kind of even the in-between moments, there might be some fun interaction. Some couples have a lot more of that than others, so some couples I've had in the past as well, like they'll just be hanging out waiting for photos to be taken, and they're laughing, smiling, giggling with each other. Just be on the lookout for that, and don't just be like, okay, yeah, they're hanging out. Hey, get a shot of that. You can put that in the video. That's a great thing to get in there, to get some really raw, real, genuine emotion that is not staged or directed. Let's look at our color correcting / grade here. So you can see it was very yellow before. Like I had to go way down with the yellow and the red. Like people were pretty red, pretty yellow. Like their skin was very orange. Like this is pretty good. Yeah, because the light right overhead is a yellow tungsten light. So if we go back, I'll show you what the color grade looks like. There you go. So instead of that orange, it's that skin tone color instead. I try to get ones that had kind of those flares and the foreground and stuff. So let's go back through and check out the dancing. So what happened there, that little move, so the shot started out behind a little plank, came out, showed them dancing, and then there was another plank that went behind, and then on a totally second shot, I was behind another plank. This isn't the same plank. Like you can kind of see it gets lighter. That's a new plank on the very opposite side of this kind of apparatus or whatever. And I came out and I was zoomed in more so you could tell like, hey, this is a different shot. So now I'm more zoomed in. Whereas before I was more zoomed out, and now I'm zoomed in. That was all in camera. So I just cross dissolve between the two to give it a smooth look, because if I didn't cross dissolve it, this is what it would have looked like. You can see, boom, really quick it gets really light right there. So cross dissolve it and seamless. So that's kind of a signature end that I have on my videos, is the shot where I go from down in the flowers up to them kissing and fading it out slowly. So it's just the way I end a lot of my videos. It's kind of my thing, I guess. But yeah, again, more dissolving with the audio, making sure it's smooth and not too abrupt. Yeah, I know I didn't hit all the different things. There's plenty to say about it. I'm sure more critiques and why didn't I do this, why didn't I do that? Or this is a really cool thing, but just want to run through it really quick to kind of give you an idea of what my timeline looks like and how I edited things with the color grade and the audio and some background behind it. So really high overview, not super in depth, but hopefully it was helpful for you, maybe gave you some ideas on certain things to shoot or how to shoot them or how to edit them or how to structure the entirety of the video. So if you have any questions, feel free to let me know in the comments below. If you're not already subscribed, we have a lot more videos just like this on the channel related to both video creation and wedding filmmaking. So if you're into that, consider subscribing. We'd love to have you here. Thanks so much for watching, everybody, and I will see you all in the next video.